everyone to Police Service Board meeting of the Municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc on Tuesday, August 15th. Before we begin, I'd like to do land acknowledgement. The Municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc acknowledges that it is located on Treaty 21 territory. We are thankful to the generations of people who have taken care of this land, including Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, the Munsee Delaware First Nation, and the Oneida Nation of the Thames. Before we begin, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move to the reading, correction, or approval of the minutes. We have a recommendation, the minutes of July 18th, 2023 general meeting of the Strathroy-Caradoc Police Service Board be approved as written. Are there any corrections? Annika?
I'll approve it.
You approve it? And a seconder? Before we have the vote though, I do things a little different on the order. I did have one correction that I saw, and I have to find it. And it was in the closed session. Where is it there? Did Ron LeClaire from Police Service Advisor, did he stay for the, I don't think he did.
He left.
He left, so I just, he's listed as being,
So that will be in your closed session.
no, what is, yeah, it says in camera minutes. And this is joint.
Yeah, so those in-camera minutes though will go for approval in the
Okay.
in-camera session. These
Okay.
are just open session minutes.
Yep, okay, that's fine, that's cool. All right, have a motion and a seconder, all in favor? Carried. Communications, recommendation to communications item 3.11 to 3.16 be received for information. Did anyone want to speak to any of the communication? We'll go with Annika.
This is for Mark, Chief, and I wanted to talk about 3.1.1. I found the wording proceeds of crime to be the word proceeds, and I wondered why they call that versus, you know, the grant is more crime prevention funding. And then I wanted to, secondly, I wanted to ask about last month we had our street unit, street crime unit, make a presentation, and I wondered if the funding might be applicable for their support since we just started that program.
Great couple of questions to start me off here, thanks. So through the chair to Member Hunt. Proceeds of crime, again, the history behind this grant is monies collected through the justice system, through previous cases, allows for the government to seizure of assets and funds through criminal prosecutions.
Oh,
so that's what sort of creates the envelope of money.
Oh, I see.
The second part of the question, we were having a discussion before our arrival here today. There's three different elements to the grant application. We're looking to write to two of them. One is the school safety that will have Constable McIntyre reach out to her colleague with the Middlesex OPP and see where we cannot maybe, where we can maybe enhance some of our mental health supports into the school system, both at the elementary and secondary level. The second area that we're going to focus on is through Detective Constable Shute, looking at the organized crime element. And again, he will, as you saw in the application process, you are required to work in conjunction, partnership with another police service or services. So again, we'll have Detective Constable Shute reach to our regional partners and come up with some sort of application process for that.
Perfect. That explains why there's proceeds available for this funding. Thanks.
Thank you. Henry, you had I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mr. Beersma, you had a question.
The second 312, the Technical Standard Safety Authority, do we have one of them? Is there one in London? How does that work for us?
Another excellent question, through the chair to Member Wiersma. I will defer to Deputy Chief Cushman, who will give you a very thorough answer to that question.
Don't get carried away.
If anyone knows me, it will not be thorough. So I'm not sure where the nearest branch is of the TSSA. The document itself basically expresses that we're to assist them in their investigations and work with them if they need help along that lines. But as far as an office goes, I don't know the answer to that question.
Any other questions? I had one myself with regards to 3.1 for the Towing and Storage Safety Enforcement Act. And just the language in there, I'm not sure if you gentlemen can answer it, it's more municipal. It refers to municipal licensing powers for towing. Do we have licensing for tow trucks here within Strathroy-Caradoc?
To the chair, under my tenure here, I am not aware that there is any municipal licensing. I know the deputy has some background on this, alt chiefs, in regards to basically the regulation of the towing industry. But again, he'll expand on, I think, where this is coming from.
Thank you. Yep, Deputy Chief.
Yeah, so my belief is this stems from the issues the GTA is having with, well, there's lots of issues, fire trucks, or fires with tow trucks and shootings and stuff like that. What it comes down to is the ministry is going to require them to have licenses moving forward, or certificates, I guess they're gonna call them. So you'll actually need a certificate to drive a tow truck and operate a tow truck. You'll need a certificate to operate a business, a towing business, and then also a separate license for storage. So if you're storing cars that have been towed or seized, then you'll all need to be licensed, whereas now there really doesn't seem to be much of an oversight or regulation of that industry.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the answer. Member Wiersma?
Again, I'm just curious, are we interested in that grant on 315?
Through the chair to Member Wiersma, so the applicant for that grant application, well, that sounds right, the applicant for an application. The agency that has to apply has to be outside of the police service. It's a pretty wide spectrum of areas that are eligible for it. I think here locally, certainly I think of First Nation communities. They may be able to access this granting information. So I think maybe a requirement from us as a police service is to ensure that some of our local partner agencies are aware and informed that this application is on the table and accessible for them to apply to.
Good, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I have a motion to receive the communications. Member Hall, second by Member Wiersma. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Move on to the monthly police service reports. Monthly be received for information. Start with Chief with 4.1.
Thank you again, Chair. Very quickly, I'm going to move through these. On the activity reports, so on page 1, second column down the charge summary, you'll see criminal code for July 2023, 83. Those will be federal drug charges. So again, you'll see that there's a fairly consistent pattern developing where we are very engaged in enforcement of laying drug charges. In the criminal investigation division, I've highlighted 3 of the bullets. I think at the last meeting we spoke a little bit about a missing person investigation we had involving a 15-year-old from our community. Lots of collaboration and work with the York Regional Police. who were successful in locating that youth in an encampment area in their community. She has since been directed to some additional resources to assist with some of the social related issues that she was having some challenges with. Bullet point number 3, just a bit of a summary on a controlled drugs and substances warrant that we executed at an address on Carey Street. You'll see there in the summary 2 adults and two adult males and an adult female were arrested. Various quantities of cocaine, crystal meth, and oxycodone with a street value of just over $11,000 seized. And then in the bullet point just below, an ongoing sexual assault investigation that our members in our criminal investigation unit are working through. You'll see that 2 parties have been arrested in relation to a number of sexual assault allegation charges there. In the court brief, I just wanted to highlight in bullet point number 2 the amount of provincial offense charge packages completed. I just wanted to explain what ERs are. That's an early resolution. So as part of a provincial court prosecution, so the example I'll use is a community member gets a ticket. They have some options as to how they want to proceed with that ticket. You can choose to proceed by disputing the ticket, which will then activate an early resolution. So we're basically required to put together a prosecution summary of the case so that a Crown prosecutor has a chance to review the facts and issue, as well as the defendant getting a copy of that. So it's a sort of a step that's required. I would call provincial prosecution sort of the lower hanging fruit as far as compared to criminal prosecutions. But there are some time consuming elements to at least preparing a package. And I would say a vast majority of these do not end up in a trial occurring at the provincial offences court. But again, it's just a process where we have to make sure that we have full disclosure to the accused party. And then the last one I was just going to touch on real briefly is the community services and mental health officer report. Again, another busy month in July, 74 live calls and or follow-ups that were completed, supporting 96 individuals again. So again, as you see month over month in this report, Michelle and the MCERT workers are supporting a high number of community members and making resources available to them. So other than that, there's a lot of other information in there, unless there's any questions from the board.
Any questions? I have one, Chief. Just dangerous operation. I noticed that's way up. What is dangerous operation? Notice it's up exponentially since 2020. That's on the Unified Crime Report.
Mhm.
Sure. So in the left-hand column there, again, we've tried to break the incidents down through various types. So the first area is traffic, which is more of your traffic enforcement and traffic control related issues. Motor vehicle collisions obviously is the MVC.
Yeah.
And then the traffic criminal, so impaired is impaired driving. Dangerous operation is actually an offense in the criminal code where if someone is operating a vehicle, say above and beyond sort of your typical speeding, an example I would use is someone is down at the shops on Sydenham in the parking lot, driving around doing, I'll use the old term, donuts through the parking lot during midday shopping experience, driving recklessly. That would constitute dangerous driving. Excessive speed, say exceeding the speed limit by 50 to 60 kilometers an hour. So driving down, say, Front Street at 120 kilometers an hour would constitute the offense of dangerous operation or dangerous driving. So it's really a section in the criminal code regarding dangerous operation of a motor vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions, Chief? The community services report.
So, I think I was just highlighting some of the work that Michelle had done in there. Those were really the points I had.
Okay.
And again, you'll see that obviously there's been a lot of media involvement that she has also included in her activities.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief on that? Overtime report.
Some areas where there's been some increases. Again, highlighting the search warrant that was executed over on Carey Street. We did bring in some additional resources to execute that plan. We've had some areas where we've had to fill some uniform shifts. We have a couple of members who are being accommodated, aren't able to work the front line. And we've had some, again, just a few instances where we've had to post some overtime shifts to ensure that we meet minimum complement on our staffing model.
Any questions regarding the overtime report? Seeing none, Chief, the use of force report.
I don't believe I have anything to report on that one for this month. Very quiet month regarding use of force. I can move through some of the other ones.
Yes, thank you.
The FOI, again, a fairly lax month with only 4 additional requests. And the accumulated time owing, no concerns with that unfunded ATO bank, which is tracking as we normally would find.
Okay. And that include the budget update, Chief?
Yeah, so you'll see in the budget update that we're at 54% of the year. Still in a surplus area as far as where we are with overall revenue compared to expenses, with no real areas of concern identified where we're at.
Any questions, Member Hahn?
In regards to the budget, I was looking at the grant, the ALPR technology grant, and I know the budget was 95, and we have spent 115. The excess of 20,000, did we get more approved, or is that just excess over that grant?
I can answer.
Sure.
So the grant was for, I believe it was about $92,000 to $95,000 that we received. In order to implement the technologies in all of our cruisers, we did have to spend a little bit more to get that. So, and it was the chief's purview that we should have that technology in all of our vehicles. It's the in-car cameras as well as the license plate reading technology. So that's why it's a little bit more.
I just wasn't sure if possibly the grant was more and the budget had been done, in November. So thanks so much.
Member Wiersma.
Just a question of interest again. Under police building expenses, contracted work, it's 165%. I'm just curious, is that contracted work done, or will there be more on that?
So these overages relate to a lot of small contracted work pieces that have sort of been one-offs. And so when we're preparing future budgets, I think we'll have to sort of reevaluate the frequency in which we are seeing this type of work occurring in our building.
So in other words, this one can go up some more before the end of the year?
It will slightly.
Yes. Okay, fine, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, that completes the reports. Have a motion to receive the report. Member Wiersma, second by Member Hall. All in favor? Carried. Inquiries or comments by members? Did any members have any comments or inquiries?
None from me.
Member Wiersma? I had one. I think this may pertain to the street crime. Again, the acts of graffiti and vandalism continue. I don't know if you saw the reports on the weekend at York Park, the soccer park. There was a great deal of graffiti, but I had opportunity yesterday, speaking to a staff member of the roads department. It was on another matter. We got talking, and he was telling me about Alexandra Park and closing the washrooms and this may be more of an internal matter, but just to raise the issue of homelessness and drug use in our parks when they're called upon to close the washrooms as part of their off-shift duties, a number of times where they're verbally accosted, may be the word, and the number of times they find homeless people in the washrooms as they try to close them, and the drug use down in the park. So the point wasn't really to ask a question. I know we're all doing the best we can, but just to highlight that, it is a continuing issue in this community. And I'll raise this with internally with directors, but just our own staff member didn't feel safe going down and having to close the washroom at night. So again, Chief, it was just more to highlight that it's a continuing and possibly growing problem. So I'm quite sure that we'll all do the best we can, but just want to highlight it as an issue. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. We'll move in camera. The board may move into a closed session and discuss labor relations matters regarding collective bargaining agreements and a procedural matter to approve in-camera meeting minutes as permitted by Section 239 of the Ontario Municipal Act, Section 35(4) of the Police Service Act, and Council's Procedure Bylaw. Motion to move into closed session. Member Hall, second by Member Hahn. All in favor? Carried. now back in open session. We met in camera to discuss labor relations matters regarding collective bargaining agreements and a procedural matter to approve in-camera meeting minutes as permitted by section 239 of the Ontario Municipal Act and the Police Services Act. Next meeting is September 19th. Motion to adjourn. Member Hall, second by Member Wiersma. All in favor? Carried.